Hi all, my name is Erica May, and today I'm going to be doing my book review. So the book I picked for this assignment was Narrative of the Life of Fredrick Douglass, an American Slave. And this book was very good, very descriptive. It had many of the events he described by detail. So I myself could see or picture how that chapter or paragraph or whatever was happening. Like I could actually see it. This book was very easy to understand because it is a narrative, which means that somebody is explaining or talking about their life. um so Frederick Douglass, for example, talks about from the time he was born until he was about 30. And from the beginning, I was actually able to understand the book and connect to it. So, for example, the first chapter talks about him being born and how, of course, being born a slave, he was separated from his mom, who was taken to another plantation. Well, he was mainly basically, sorry. He was taken away from her and given to an older lady because of course he was a baby. So she did the mom she did try to come at night and cuddle, because as a mom that's what you would want, to be close to your baby. That chapter right there got to me a little because I have a 1 year old, so it was a little hard to read. Not hard to read, but interesting to I mean, not interesting, how would I word this? It was good. Okay, it was good to learn about how life used to be back then. Um so I definitely recommend this book. You can, if you have a library card for the Decatur Public Library or whatever library it's close to you, they probably have the book, and sometimes they even offer the audiobooks. But if you can't find it, YouTube also has all chapters audible. So that's one way you can find it. So I am going to talk a little more about why I enjoyed this book. Another reason was, of course, it was very interesting to learn about Frederick himself from his point of view. He talks about the struggles, not sacrifices, but mainly struggles that he had to go through as a child, as a teenager, as an adult. Um, of course, he can do anything about it, but he did try his best to figure out a way. So, for example, not for example, but in the story, he talks about how he wants to learn how to read. And actually, one of the ladies, whose name is Sophia, helps him at first. And he's very surprised that she's even willing to help him, because nobody back in the day would help African Americans learn how to read or write or any of that. So he's very surprised but thankful in a way that she is actually willing to help him. So, he of course um is learning, and then one day out of nowhere she comes in and doesn't want to help him anymore because the master tells her that she shouldn't be doing that. So Frederick himself is not surprised because nobody would help African Americans back in the day. But so he is kind of in shock because she did try to help him, at the beginning and stuff. And now out of nowhere she just doesn't want to help him. So he doesn't give up on reading though. He still learns to read from one of the little boys. So, cuz he would hang around with him a lot. So Frederick would go with the kid, and as the kid is being taught to read and write, he would kind of just, copy him and stuff. So he learns to read and write on his own. So I can't even imagine how that that feeling is, because we're now we are able to attend school and We are being taught how to write and type and all these different things. And, back in the day, they didn't. So, um, moving on to my lesson plan, that is actually one of my standards that I did. So, or objectives that I did. So, I did fifth grade level, and my fifth graders will be learning about life before and life now. So before, African Americans were not able to vote. They didn't have the right to vote. They didn't have the right to education. And they were pretty much property of people who had money. So before beginning my lesson, I will have students talk about the terms wealth, master, slave, plantation, and so these five terms will be discussed as a class. So students will be giving a chance to give their own definition of what they think this might mean, what the terms mean to them. Once they get the understanding of what these terms mean, then the whole class will listen to the audiobook. Not because it's hard, but because I think fifth grade level and this many words, it will for sure be so much easier to do an audiobook. So they will listen to the audiobook 5 days a week for 15 minutes each day. So this will give them a chance to listen to the story being read to them, and of course they will have a copy of the book that they will be able to follow along. I know a lot of students learn best when they are being read to. I myself learn better when I'm being read to, or being told. So I think this will definitely help with students with IEPs, 504s, and having the book with them will also help visual learners. Not because not that it has pictures in it, but because as the book is being read, they can follow along and look at these words. So this will help their vocabulary too, because they will be able to learn how to pronounce it while looking at it. So the students will listen to the audiobook for 15 minutes every day. After each chapter, the teacher will stop the book, and the students will be put into groups of 2 or 3, um, depending on their level. So this will help this will help me as a teacher to kind of go around the room and look at where the student is at, meaning what level or comprehension, or if they're understanding the book. So after every chapter, we will stop as a whole class, be put into groups, and the teacher will come around and observe each group to see if they are getting the book. For students who are not, or for students who missed a day of school, there will be an option of YouTube videos with each chapter being read. So once that is taken care of, I will also have a group for myself. So as a teacher, I will pull students who I have noticed that still need a little more help. Excuse me. So while I have them in my group, we will again listen to the chapter and talk about it. So this will give students different points of views. So let's say one student talks about, well, they understood that from this, but this other student didn't get that until she said it. So that will help catch them up and also understanding the book. Once that is being done, then students will be able to talk about what a narrative is. Um, Points of view. This would just be a review for point of view because I think they learned this in third grade, maybe. So by fifth grade, they will be able to master that level of point of view. As an assessment, I will probably have just different questions or um, events, I guess. Kind of ask them questions about events that happen and how, again, life used to be very different compared to how it is now because of how they used to treat African Americans and how they are being treated now. How much everything has changed, meaning we don't have plantations or people are being forced to be being slaves. So that is my review. I hope you enjoyed it, and please give this book a chance. They also sell it on Amazon from the book list that Dr. Sorry, I can't say his last name. So, it's on Amazon for $2, or again, you can find it at the public library or on YouTube. Hope you enjoyed.